the orcs throw Laura in a prison cell where she sits and waits for Legolas to come and save her.
Meanwhile, back at the castle of Milkwood, Legolas was getting the army ready to go and save Laura.
I guess they moved from Mirkwood to Milkwood at some point.
Meanwhile, Laura was sitting on the floor, and then the door opened and it was some orcs, and the orcs tied Laura with some chains, and then one of the orcs striped her, and then he raped her, and then Laura said, "Go away, you bastard." Then another orc came with a whip and wiped her hard, and then the orcs altered at her, beat her almost to death, and then the Dark Lord came in with a tube of potion, and then he injected into Laura.
This is all kinds of wrong, and the spelling and grammar make it unintentionally hilarious, which somehow just makes it even more wrong. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, the orcs tie Laura up, then they stripe her, and then one of them rapes her, but he stops after she tells him to go away. Then the rest of the orcs wipe her and bet her, and then Sauron comes in with a tube of potion and injects her with it.
Few hours later, Legolas and the others was on the way to Mundor to save Princess Laura. Meanwhile, in the cell where Laura was being kept, Laura woke up and she looked on her body. There was blood and scars. She only could move her right arm but not her left. Then Laura said, "I feel so cold," and then she can't see very well.
I'd say show don't tell, but that's getting redundant at this point. And your verb tenses need to match up. Laura said, "I feel so cold," and she couldn't see very well. But for the love of God, show, don't tell. Ugh.
At the front gates of Mundor was Legolas and the others, and then they said, "Let Laura go," and then the Dark Lord said no, and then Legolas said, "Right, listen, I will climb up to the cell and get Laura, and you and the others will find another way in." Then Strider said, "All right," and then Legolas started to climb up. Meanwhile, Strider and the others ran into Mundor and went into the castle. Gandalf said, "I will go and kill the Dark Lord, and you and the others go and help Legolas." Sturdier said, "Be careful," and then Gandalf said, "I will, don't you worry about me."
Alright, author, your meanwhile privileges have hereby been revoked. The use of the word meanwhile is a privilege, not a right. Also, meanwhile is one word, not two separate words. I also love how Legolas just yells his plan to everybody within earshot. There's no possible way Sauron and the orcs can stop him if they know exactly what he's about to do, right?
You put a sock in it, Legolas.
Meanwhile, Legolas got to the cell where Laura is. Legolas said, "Laura, are you in there?" And then Laura said, "Oh, Legolas, you finally came." And then Legolas said, "Are you all right?" And then Laura said, "No, I am not all right." And then Legolas said, "They bet you up and raped you. Also the Dark Lord gave you the potion." And then Laura said, "How did you know that?" Then Legolas said, "When I was your age, they did the same thing to me." Then Laura said, "Can you get me out of here?" And then Legolas said, "Okay, stand back." And then he ran back and ran towards the door and knocked it down.
Wait a minute. What? Apparently, when Legolas was 10, because that's how old Laura is, orcs kidnapped him, bet him, and raped him, and then Sauron gave him potion. Wow. Just wow. This is fucked up. It's just fucked up. And Legolas is remarkably calm about this terrible trauma that he endured at the tender age of 10. But wait a minute. How did Legolas escape when all of this happened to him? Did the orcs let him go, or did somebody rescue him? And why? Above all, why? Why did the orcs abduct Legolas? Why did they abduct Laura? What's with the potion? Why can't this author spell? Why? Just why? Just why? Enough plot crap. Let's talk about grammar for a minute. There's this thing called punctuation, and the author doesn't seem to know that it exists. Periods, commas, semicolons, and question marks are awesome! They make everything look nice and neat. Let's see how this sentence would look with the proper punctuation. Now, you can see all those big squiggly things I put in, right? Those are question marks. You add them in to let people know that the character is asking a question. And the smaller squiggly things, those are commas. You put them in right before the end of a quotation. This is common sense. You learn this in grade school. You know, even if you never officially learned punctuation or you weren't paying attention, if you have ever read a book, you know how to use this. If you know how to read, then you know basic punctuation. It isn't that hard.
Laura said wow, and then Legolas looked and saw she was covered in blood and scars, also she was naked, and then Legolas said why they did it to you, not me. And then the orcs came and said because she got a power and she can destroy us all, the bad guys.
Oh, come on! Didn't we just say that the orcs kidnapped Legolas when he was 10 and brutalized him just like Laura? Did Legolas forget? Is he jealous? Is he really saying, why didn't they abduct and brutalize me? Oh, Laura, why do you get to have all the fun? And what's with this power that can destroy us all, the bad guys? Where did it come from? Why does Laura have such a power? It hasn't manifested itself in any way, shape, or form. Why mention it now? It should have been mentioned sooner, because right now, it feels like an afterthought. A big, stupid afterthought. And why isn't Laura using it? If she had this power, couldn't she have used it to, oh, I don't know, stop orcs from kidnapping her and raping her in the first place?
Then the fright began.
Believe you me, the fright's already begun.
Legolas got out his bow and arrows and started firing at them. Then Legolas saw some swords and said, Strider, is that you? And then Strider said, yes it is. And then Legolas and the others started to kill the orcs.
Show, don't tell.
Meanwhile, Gandalf is have a fun time trying to destroy the Dark Lord. Gandalf said, I wish Frodo and Merry and Pippin and Sam was here. And then a sword came out of nowhere and said, some wished us here. And then Gandalf turned and said, Frodo Baggins, what are you doing here? Then Frodo said, we came to help you, and also we got rid of the ring. And then the Dark Lord said, oh no. And then the magical powers from Gandalf destroyed the Dark Lord.
Deus Ex Machina. Why the fuck not? Gandalf apparently just wishes for Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin to show up. And they do. And after they show up, they reveal that the One Ring has been destroyed, and then Sauron just ups and dies. That ain't how it works, author. Do some fucking research. Gandalf doesn't have the ability to just teleport people from place to place by wishing it. And when the One Ring gets destroyed, Sauron's the first to know about it, believe you me. This ending is ridiculous, but at least it's an ending, right? What do you mean there's more? Oh, hang on a minute.
Legolas and the others are on the way back to the castle. Legolas said, we must go to Rivendell to get Laura better. Then Gandalf said, I think you are right. And then they turned around and went to Rivendell. Legolas looked down on Laura and put his hand onto Laura's head, and she was burning up. Strider went aside of Legolas' horse and looked and said, she is getting worse. And then Legolas said, I know.
She's burning up? Oh no! Whatever shall we do? Nothing. It turns out Legolas and company take Laura to Rivendell, even though Mirkwood is a lot closer. Oh wait, I forgot. They're not in Mordor, they're in Mondor, which is nowhere near Legolas' home in Milkwood.